the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. The new communitarianism developed to enslave the world population by 2030 by the Free People Foundation. Origins of Communitarianism. According to many, including Israeli-American sociologist Amitai Etzioni, who is considered the founder of the modern communitarian movement, the term communitarianism was coined in 1841 by John Goodwin Barmby, who used it to refer to utopian socialists. These are socialist extremists, communists, who oppose industrial capitalism, an economic system in which trade, industry, and capital are privately controlled and operated on a for-profit basis. In this perspective, communitarians believe that trade, industry, and capital in societies must be controlled and operated by governments and their institutions, including supranational entities such as the European Union and the United Nations. Supranationals. New word. According to Etzioni, the most advanced experiment in building a supranational community is in the European Union. What Etzioni doesn't mention, though, is the fact that EU was established without the explicit consent people whose countries are now EU member states. The government of these states has also given up their national currencies without the explicit consent of the people. Clearly, communitarianism is a completely undemocratic socio-political system and form of government. I also look at that carbon credit system, carbon tax. This is giving value to something that I didn't want to use as a form of economic pressure or control, and I don't think anybody does. But it's being used, and no one has voted that system in. And when you talk about governors of individual states being NGOs, they're creating this entity is above the awareness or control or consent of the people. It's a continuation of what's happening in the EU. Since at least the 1980s, communitarian is used to describe authoritarian regimes and societies, such as those in China and in North Korea. Governments in such societies view citizens as interchangeable cells who allegedly must find meaning in their contributions to the government and society rather than living as free individuals. Modern communitarianism. The modern communitarian paradigm demands a limiting of individual rights such as freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of the press, freedom of association, medical rights, and the rights to have property and consume freely. Advocates of modern communitarianism believe that all commercial advertising, for instance, is toxic, which is why, according to them, only government-approved communication must be allowed in the public domain. You know it's being controlled. Products and services can only be promoted through government-approved commercials and advertisements. During his presidency, Barack Obama revealed countless times of his support for the modern communitarian movement doctrine. Obama said on several occasions that business owners, for instance, don't build their own companies. According to Obama, the community and the government help business owners build their companies, further implying that as a business owner, you don't really own your own company. It's co-owned by everyone. Recently, Black Lives Matter tried to hide the community's communitarian identity as a movement as it gained popularity around the world. September 18, 2020, Black Lives Matter removed the What We Believe page from their website. That page originally stated, aside from many other things, emphasis added, every day, quote, we commit to healing ourselves and each other and to co-create alongside comrades, allies, and a family of culture where each person feels seen, heard, and supported. We practice empathy. We engage comrades with the intent to learn about and connect with their context. Where the BLM website used to be stuffed with these communist words like comrade and comrades, now only one page is left where these words are used. This change may seem of little or no importance to those who don't understand this transition, but is of great importance in a time where also BLM joins the World Economic Forum's Great Reset and Communitarian movement. We are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege. The same BLM page used to state, this is a reference to the Communitarian movement's agenda to marginalize male and female humans in exchange for a world where gender is reduced to a government-approved definition that can change at any given time. It's changing now. Another cornerstone of the modern communitarian movement's doctrine is the literal destruction of the nuclear family unit, a mother, a father, and one or more children. Communitarians believe that all children belong to society as a whole, not just to the parents who are naturally supposed to be responsible for their own children. That's where CPS and this was reflected on the same deleted BLM page. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children. It further stated, we cultivate an intergenerational and communal network free from ageism. We believe that all people, regardless of age, show up with the capacity to lead and learn. This was in reference to the children such as Greta Thunberg, whose public identities are manufactured by the Communitarian movement, including the United Nations and the World Economic Forum. Communitarianism, according to Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum and author of the Great Reset agenda that is violently being adopted by governments around the world. In COVID-19, The Great Reset, that's a book. Schwab dreams and theorizes about modern communitarians' emergence during the so-called COVID-19 pandemic, albeit also due to the World Economic Forum's failed by design COVID-19 action platform. Everywhere, simple acts of kindness, generosity, altruism appear to be becoming the norm in terms of what we value. The notions of cooperation, communitarian ideas, the sacrifice of self-interest for the common good, and caring came to the fore. Conversely, manifestations of individual power, popularity, and prestige were frowned upon. Concretely, the book, COVID-19, The Great Reset, is one of the manifestations of the modern communitarian movement, now also headed by Klaus Schwab. The book was written for corruptible and gullible government officials and greedy yet submissive and gullible company executives. In addressing such government officials, Schwab uses the book to manipulate them into accepting and adopting the new communitarian doctrine to be implemented by national governments. Schwab wants politicians to believe that only government-approved companies, those that submit to the communitarian cult, should be allowed to operate under any and all circumstances following communitarian government dictates that are based on COVID-19 lies. In addressing such company executives, Schwab uses the book to instill fear for not obeying communitarian government dictates by providing unrealistic theories and projections when the actual truth about the so-called pandemic is taken into account for the world and the local economies in Schwab's new normal. Industrial Revolution Society. According to Schwab, new normal businesses and corporations should thrive while all the rest go out of business. And it is the obligation of governments to make this happen. The book wasn't written for individual citizens, their families, and friends. This is further confirmed by the fact that national and local governments and the mainstream news media have yet to properly inform their citizens and audience about World Economic Forum's COVID-19 action platform, its Great Reset agenda, and the Fourth Industrial Revolution and modern communitarian movement generally headed from now on by Amitai Etzioni and Klaus Schwab. Global Communitarianism in 2030. To an uninformed citizen, it may come as a surprise that the World Economic Forum's Great Reset and Fourth Industrial Revolution agendas are supposed to be the framework for communitarian economic policies at a global scale, dictated by unelected individuals such as Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates. Something we see already happening right now are governments are manipulated into implementing digital currencies, digital IDs, and are manipulated into buying unsafe COVID and other vaccines from pharmaceutical companies that only have billions of dollars and euros in profits in mind. As the World Economic Forum is supposed to decide undemocratically the economic aspect of the new normal, communitarian societies by 2030, the United Nations is supposed to decide the political aspect of the 2030 communitarian society. It's not by sheer coincidence that the UN's Agenda 2030, Sustainable Government Goals or Global Goals, perfectly aligns with the World Economic Forum's Great Reset and Fourth Industrial Revolution agendas. This was planned all along, long before the World Organization Forum officially launched its Great Reset agenda through its preposterous COVID-19 action platform. This should not be new information for anyone alive today. To achieve a more communitarian political landscape worldwide, Etzioni suggests that we create an enhanced United Nations. What that specifically means, according to him, he doesn't say, but it's hard to figure out. It isn't hard to figure out that when one knows what communitarianism stands for. In a nutshell, it means that by 2030, UN would be given more undemocratic power over national and global political policies that would automatically be aligned with the World Economic Forum's undemocratic power over trade, industry, and capital, and that all would be, of course, be aligned with the Bank for International Settlements, its world finance and banking dictatorship. The Chinese government's Communitarian Belt and Road Initiative, it's also called the BRI. Although the Chinese Communist Party's BRI is not set to be completed until 2030, it does cooperate and align itself with the UN's 2030 agenda to make the BRI more green. Allegedly. In 2030, Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed in Kazakhstan and Indonesia to build the Silk Road Economic Belt and the 21st Century's Maritime Silk Road, or the Belt and Road Initiative. Since then, it has become clear that the BRI will stretch from China to Canada, South Africa, Southeast Asia, Australia, and Europe, including the UK, completely isolating the US, eventually giving its government the long-awaited opportunity to push through its new bunting clover leaf project that aims to control the global cybersecurity, digital health, fintech industry 4.0, and agri-food tech industries. At the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation in May 2017, President Xi Jinping said we should pursue the new vision of green development in a way of life and work that is green, low carbon, circular, and sustainable. Efforts should be made to strengthen cooperation in ecological and environmental protection and promote ecological civilization so as to realize the goals set by 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Without a doubt, Schwab and Etzioni envy the Chinese Communist Party for its advanced communitarian dictatorship, which China is today. Everyone is a witness to the brutality, tyranny, and thought policing by the Chinese government since Wuhan Lab became the center of the world's attention in 2019. With the EU being the most advanced supranational communitarian entity, according to Etzioni, we will definitely start to see soon enough news articles and broadcasts pop up saying China is opening up its economy and political decision-making to the rest of the world. Once you see that happening, you'll know for sure that the communitarian megablock Eurasia is being formed in an attempt to accomplish the ultimate power grab by the new normal tyrants and their extremist beta, gamma, delta, and epsilon apparatchiks. So we do understand this was written in November 2020. And Cohen also cites in his references at the bottom of the article, which maybe I know how to share links. How do we edit? Share some links here. So learning how to live stream means I'm learning how to broadcast more information available to you. And once I learn how to get better at this, there we go. Change the save. There we are. I want to be helpful. So thank you for listening.